We are making a sun fairy princess dress, or summer fairy princess dress, however you want to put that. That's what we're doing today, but actually I made it weeks ago, because yeah. So if you want some sunshine, you want some rays of sun, summer, glitters, sparkle, whatever, and also Christmas at the end, because I love Christmas. Just keep watching the video. I made this bustier pattern by using my front and back sloper. I traced out my pattern and drew all my style lines and my darts, and I turned my bust dart into a princess seam that went into the armpit, or the armhole. I wanted a basque waist, so I used my hip curve ruler to draw a curved line from my waist as far down in the middle of my torso as I wanted, and then I squared out the neckline. I did this for the front and the back. Be sure that if you're doing this and your pattern has this side bust dart, that you close that dart, because it's going to leave an extension that you do not need. After cutting out all my patterns, I added seam allowance and went ahead and cut out all of my pieces in my self fabric and my lining. I'm using medium weight iron-on fusible to stabilize my self fabric, and in a moment you're going to see that I accidentally ironed on the right side of the fabric and had to cut out a whole different piece because the glue was leaving little beady beads on the fabric and I can't reuse it. So let's try it again, shall we? Okay, wrong sides. Okay, I think we got it, you guys. I think we got it. Wait, we're being a little finicky here. Oh, we got it. Now, after all the pieces were ironed, I went ahead and sewed my panels together with 1/2 inch seam allowance. I sewed my self fabric first, and then I went in and sewed my lining. Now, you guys can watch all the YouTube videos you want on how to make a circle skirt, but just go ahead and do yourself a favor and put in your waist measurements into this mood circle skirt calculator right here for free, and it will give you the measurement that you need. You're first going to fold your fabric hot dog way, and then you're going to fold it hamburger way. But you're going to make sure that when you fold it hamburger way, that you have enough length for your skirt. So you're going to measure how long you want your skirt, and then you're going to add 2.5 inches to that measurement. You're going to cut out 2 full circle skirts with that measurement, and then 1 full circle skirt with your original measurement plus 1/2 inch for the hem. So you should have not 1 circle skirt, not 2, but 3. 2 that are longer and 1 shorter. Following that, you need to cut the middle of all 3 skirts. Lay the 2 longer skirts on top of each other, and we're going to stitch up one side. We need to gather the hem of the 2 skirts that we sewed together, so go ahead and put your sewing machine on the longest stitch that it can go on and stitch at about 1/4 inch from the hem. And pull your threads to bunch your fabric up together. Now the hem of the 2 skirts that were sewed together needs to match the hem of the single shorter circle skirt. Oh my gosh, that is a tongue twister. Imagine like saying that 5 times. Single shorter circle skirt, single shorter circle skirt, single shorter circle skirt, single shorter. Like that sounds crazy. Like my good sis that sell the seashells over there on the seashore ain't got nothing against the single circle skirt. Anyway, back to the story because I'm all over the place. You're going to need to pin that hem to the single shorter circle skirt. The hems need to be pinned together, they need to match, and you're going to sew those hems together, right sides facing. Now, I don't have footage of this, but you're also going to gather the waist of the double circle skirt to match the waist of the single circle skirt. Pin these 2 together, wrong sides touching, but you're not going to stitch them just yet. Decided that before I stitch this double circle skirt to the waist of the single circle skirt, that I was going to try to close up the side just up until I marked it. This is probably like 1 inch above where the zipper stops at. So the zipper might stop all the way down here, and then I sewed an inch above. I'm gonna stop an inch above that. So I'm going to stitch here, and then I'll sew onto the other side, which is also an inch above where the zipper would stop. So with half an inch seam allowance, you're basically going to partially sew up the side seam of the single circle skirt and the double circle skirt. This is the skirt. This is the side of the skirt where the zipper will go. As you can see. I'm debating if I should put the zipper in first and then sew everything and ruche everything. Not ruche everything, but sew the waist together and then put the zipper on. So put the zipper on first and then sew everything together. I think that I will make my life a little bit harder because I already have the waistband pinned, and I'm just going to stitch the waistband, not the waistband, stitch the waist together because it's already pinned. I feel like if I have to do the zipper, I'm gonna have to unpin everything. I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna do that at all. So, as a heads up, if you're going to sew the waist before attaching the zipper, leave an inch from each side seam because you're gonna need to attach your zipper and then fold over that seam allowance so that it's encased, the zipper tape is encased inside of the skirt. I hate when this happens. You see that? I think it's on my nerves, so I'm gonna redo that. Call JG Reference. Hey, 77 catch now. Hey, 77 catch now. Yeah. So here I'm just prepping to iron the seam allowance for my zipper. And this is why you're going to leave an inch, because you have half an inch to attach your zipper. Now you need another half an inch to fold it over. So if you're stitching your waist first and then attaching a zipper, leave that inch on each side. And I decided that I was going to hand stitch my invisible zipper. It just gave me more control and it was a lot easier for me. I don't mind hand stitching, but if you're brave and you want to use your sewing machine, then go ahead. But if you want more control and you're having a problem with attaching invisible zippers and having them look clean, definitely hand stitch it. Now, I'm not nearly insane enough to show you how to install an invisible zipper, especially when there's countless YouTube videos on how to, and I fear you'll be equally pissed to watch it as I am to install them. However, I did pin the zipper to the skirt and hand stitch everything in place. The waistband has been cut. I didn't film that because I didn't think you would want to watch me cut fabric again. So the waistband is basically just the length of my width, the measurement of my waist on the skirt plus 3 inches because I need half an inch for each side for seam allowance, and then I wanted a 2-inch flap over so I can put snaps so that the waistband can actually snap close. So it's 3 inches longer than my waist, and then it's 5 inches wide. So when I'm done sewing it, it'll be a 2-inch wide waistband. So after sewing one side of the waistband with half an inch seam allowance, I folded it over on the other side, and since I already ironed down the seam allowance on the other side of the waistband, it was so much easier to just blind stitch it in place, so I had a clean finish. I remember I added those 2 inches to the waistband, so I added a flap that would have snaps, so I'm just attaching the 2 snaps here. We're now on the bodice, and we're not going to act like I didn't work on her for 2 seconds at the beginning of the video and tossed her groupie behind to the side. Okay? That didn't happen. Anyway, to the lining I added boning to all the seam allowances and the center front of the middle panel. I then attached the lining to the self at the neckline. I then folded over the lining and top stitched. I don't know where I get that I'm gonna be teaching you guys how to make things. It's really, these videos are never really a tutorial. It's just how I make them, how I make these costumes, because I have so much footage that is missing for this cannot even equate to like a tutorial. But anyway, I'm working on the sleeve right now, and if you see, I had a brown piece of fabric that was supposed to be the lining, but the lining was so tight that I had to cut it out. And I don't know if you guys watched my last video, but I did say that my arms give beef Wellington, and they're still beefing. They're just beefing with me. So I had to cut them bad boys out because it was too tight. I couldn't even, no, Bookie, that was not for me. So anyway, I am just gathering the self outside fabric of the sleeve because I decided to do a puff sleeve, and I have absolutely no footage of me trying to attach this to the bodice, but just know it did get on there. Now, the corset is done. Please don't mind my nails. I'm struggling getting the press-ons off. I am struggling. The corset is done. I had to really lock in to put these freaking eyelets in because I'm always struggling. If you see right here, I had to put like these little spurs on the side of like one eyelet because I burnt a second hole in one of them. I don't even know which side it is, but I burnt the second hole in one of them by accident, so I had to put this here to make it look cute. But the eyelets are in there. I just strapped that up, laced it up, and then I actually had, which you'll see in the reveal, in these loops on the sleeves, because like I said again, beef Wellington, so I had to cut this open, and then this would be like a keyhole cutout, and then I put loops on the side, and then I basically just laced it up with another ribbon, and that is on both sides. But yeah, but now it's time for the reveal. Now I decided I wanted to do my review inside of this Christmas store that just opened up near my area. If you're in Sunrise, Florida, or near Sunrise, Florida, check them out. It is beautiful. It is near Sawgrass Mall, and the store is freaking huge. It's like the North Pole blew up all over the store, and my eyes watered when I walked in. So just check it out for yourself and see a little bit of what was going on in the store. They had animatronics, ornaments, huge trees. All the trees were decorated. It was just insane. It was insane.